Welcome back. Our countdown has now reached the top 20, and New Jersey sits at number 20. So the New Jersey Devils, you will notice a bit of a down here, up here, up here, a little bit of an up and down going on recently. And I don't know what this team is right now. I don't know if this is a team that's a contender and just going through a rough patch or not really a contender. So the second half of the season is going to tell us a lot. Now, when we look at this team overall, their overall average 18.64 on the power rankings. The highest they've ever been, they were number 2 back in 2022-2023. A number of times they were number 2. And they ended up averaging out to 7.65 last year. This year, the average is 13.13, which is down from 2017-18 where they were 10.73, and that was the other year they made the playoffs. Outside of that, really the numbers have not been fantastic, but it looks like this is a team that's built itself up, and now it's a matter of how far can they go. So they've been in the top row 34 times, second row 23 times, third row 42 times, and the bottom row 58 times. To get to 20th, their points percentage has been .510 over this time period from 2017-18 until now, which is good for 22nd. So again, it's right around where they are in the overall standings. I like that. The most recent power rankings being January 20th. They were 18th on those power rankings. So the New Jersey Devils, in general, have done a pretty good job of building things up. But this is where it gets frustrating. This is that frustrating spot that I was talking about. You do your rebuild, and then it's okay. Now we're going to get back into the playoffs, and getting above that line is tricky. So their top scorer over this period of time from 2017-18 until now is Jesper Bratt. 434 games played, 119 goals, 205 assists, 324 points. Jack Hughes eventually is going to be like leading this team's all-time stats everywhere, but Bratt's a pretty good player in his own right and seems to keep getting better each year. Their top goalie, and again, this is by wins, Blackwood over this period, a record of 66, 57, and 18, a .906 save percentage. He has since moved on to San Jose. And the questions about their goaltending are there. They've been there, and I'm not sure what exactly the answer is going to be. A lot of names that are out there as potentials, but the goalie market being expensive, we'll see if they end up landing themselves a goalie. Maybe in time for this video to go live. That'd be interesting. It will be interesting to see if any of the team's situations change between when I record this, which is January 25th, and when the video goes live, which will be January the 31st, so almost a week. Their last playoff appearance, of course, was 2023, and it felt like they were a wagon. They knocked out the Rangers. They looked really good. Even in the second round in defeat, they didn't look awful. And so it felt like, hey, they're on their way. But they've been flirting with that playoff line. They were my pick to win the Stanley Cup this year. The pick does not look good. It does look like at the time of the playoffs start, I will be changing my pick. And it may very well be because I have to, because maybe New Jersey doesn't make the playoffs. But they need a goalie. They need veterans on the blue line, or at least a veteran top 4. Dougie Hamilton being on the shelf, likely until at least playoffs, doesn't help. Dougie Hamilton, an almost point per game defenseman, and they miss him out there. He is that veteran presence. He does a little bit of everything. And consistency from one game to the next, or even from one period to the next. And part of this is that inexperience. The younger players, you're going to have that inconsistency from game to game and within the game. And so the New Jersey Devils do have some items on their shopping list, but do you want to spend a first-round draft pick to go out and get a defenseman? Do you want to spend a first-round draft pick to improve your overall offensive depth up front? That's a question that's going to have to be asked of Tom Fitzgerald. Now, Tom gets an extension this week, so the franchise quite happy with the job that Fitzgerald's done, at least happy enough to give him an extension. The questions around Lindy Ruff are there. I don't get the feeling Lindy Ruff's going anywhere. However, if this team falls, I would say further than 5 points out of the playoffs, maybe you do see a change behind the bench. It's difficult to change things on the ice because you've got some key guys that are hurt, Dougie Hamilton and Jack Hughes being the obvious ones. But this is a team that has struggled with injuries this year, as many have. It's a very busy schedule. And so we'll see whether or not they're able to bring themselves up and end up in the top 3 spot in the Metro, which is not going to be easy. So when we look at this graph, where things really bottom out for them is the 2019-2020 season, where they average out at 26.61. 2021-2022, not far off of that, where they averaged out at 25.88. Which is why to start the season, in 2022-2023. I did not rate them highly, but they moved up the power rankings very quickly once that season got started. Once it was obvious this team was going to get it going. And of course, you had the Fire Lindy chance and then the Sorry Lindy chance. Will we get Lindy Ruff chance soon? Well, chance. It almost sounded like chance, which is not the word I'm intending. But I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see the fans just turn against Lindy Ruff and management decide to make a change or not. And then if you do, who takes over, right? So for the New Jersey Devils, it is a turning point for them. It feels like this is a season that may end up being wasted if they can't stay above the playoff line, which would be a shame. But what is your thought process if you're a Devils fan watching this? Do you want them to go out, get their goalie, get a top four defenseman, pay whatever you got to pay because you want to go for it? Or do you want to just wait and say, you know what, they're going to win a Stanley Cup eventually? And I think they are. I think with the core they have and just the overall talent of the players they have, they should be a Stanley Cup champion at some point soon. But yeah, the goaltending issue needs to be resolved. As much as I like Nico Dawes, his last start wasn't fantastic. Vanacek's inconsistent. And so that's an issue. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event that you haven't hit those buttons already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.